If you have ever tried generating an AI character, you know that moment when you finally nail it, but then you try to generate a second image, and suddenly they've got different hair, a different jawline, sometimes they don't even look like the same person. It's extremely annoying, and the worst part, the tools that actually fix this usually cost a fortune. I got so tired of that, I tried every free method I could find, running the same characters over and over again to see what worked, and finally found a workflow that actually keeps your characters consistent without spending a dime. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did it step by step so you can start building characters that actually stay the same across every image. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a complete system that you can use to create characters for storytelling, social media content, marketing materials, or whatever creative project you're working on. After all my testing, the tool that gave me the best results was ChatGPT. I know, kind of surprising, but in reality, it actually gives you a pretty good way to keep your characters consistent as long as you stay in the same chat. The key here is that ChatGPT has memory within each conversation thread, which means it can reference the character details from your previous messages. This is something most people don't realize when they're jumping between different chats. Most other AI tools treat each generation as completely separate. You could generate the same character 10 times with the exact same prompt and get 10 completely different people, but ChatGPT's conversational memory changes that game entirely. So here's what we do. I head into ChatGPT, open a new chat, and the first thing you want to do is create your prompt. Now, having good prompts is basically the foundation of every well-made character. So what I did is I made a quick template, and I'll share it with you in the description below, that helps you get the best possible results with your character. This template includes all the essential elements, physical features, age range, style preferences, and background settings, but it's structured in a way that ChatGPT can actually understand and remember. What I do is paste that template in, and then at the bottom, there's a section where you can just quickly write out your idea for your character. And this doesn't need to be super detailed or super specific, because the template will make sure that everything comes out structured the right way. For example, I write a young Asian woman with blue eyes and green hair. That's literally all I need to write. The template does the heavy lifting by adding in the technical details like lighting, pose, and image quality specifications. Then I send that into ChatGPT, and as you can see, it gives me a pretty well-structured prompt. And this prompt already asks the AI to create a picture on a plain white background, which is exactly what we want. Now at that point, I just take that whole structured prompt, copy it, open a completely new chat window, and paste it in there. And as soon as I do that, the AI starts generating the picture. Now, it's not as fast as some of the paid generators you might find, so you do have to wait a little bit. But considering this is completely free, it's actually not bad at all. And when the initial images show up, honestly, they look surprisingly good for ChatGPT. Like, yeah, you can still tell it's AI generated, it has that smooth AI look to it, but to be totally honest, it's a very decent result, especially for something free like this. Now, we can actually tweak it in a slight way. You can describe what you want to add or replace. So let's say I'm not too happy with the green color of her hair, and I want to change it to black. I'll just type change the hair color to black. Then if I click on the little button in the top right, I can outline her hair. That way the AI doesn't start messing with other parts of the image. It sticks only to the hair. So I quickly outline the hair, send in my prompt, and as you can see, the new image comes back looking surprisingly close to what we started with. Yes, a few small features changed, but nothing major that ruins the picture. Now of course, the more specific you are in your original prompt, the better the results you'll get right away. But this editing tool is still a really solid way to make changes. One thing to note, edits do take noticeably longer to process, so it makes the workflow a bit slower. But honestly, besides that, it works really well. So with that done, let's actually put her into some different environments. So the key thing to keep your character as consistent as possible is to stay within the same chat. Doing this lets you keep your prompts really simple while still getting surprisingly good results. Because ChatGPT remembers the character from our previous messages, I don't need to re-describe her entire appearance every time. I can just focus on the new environment or action I want. For example, in the same chat, I just type, put the woman in a coffee shop, sitting and holding a cup of coffee. That instantly starts the image generation process. And as you can see, the result looks very natural. She still has her black hair, so the AI actually remembered the change we made earlier, and now she's in a different environment holding a cup of coffee. She's holding it very naturally too. There's no weird finger mistakes, which you often see with AI images. It even added some extra body features, so now it's more of a half body shot instead of just a portrait. Overall, she stays really consistent. Now, if you want to take this even further, you probably want to start changing up the angles, because right now, it keeps defaulting to a front-facing photo style image. So let's say I want her to be in a gym. I type, make her stand in a gym at an angle, turn slightly to the right. Then I hit generate, and while the results do look good, one thing to keep in mind is that generation times are definitely longer when you start adding more complex changes like this. So it does slow down your process a bit, but it's just something you have to work with. Now, looking back at our image, her face does look a little more altered after changing changing the angle. And this is because the AI really tends to stick to the expression it created in the beginning. But overall, I'd still say this is a strong result. She retained all her defining features except for the missing earring, and overall, she looks almost the same. And the background looks solid. You can clearly tell it's a gym, so this is totally usable. Now, let's test something in a completely different environment. I'll type in, make her a bride at a wedding, standing outside in bright, shiny good weather. Then I click generate, and here's the result. It actually looks even better than the previous picture. Her face is way more consistent here than it was before. One of the new additions is that she now has very realistic shadows on her face, and overall, the whole image looks much more natural. She has all of her fingers, no issues there, and the flower bouquet she's holding looks super realistic too. The only small change is that her eyes came out slightly darker, but honestly that's not a deal breaker. It still looks like her, and it's definitely a normal variation you'd expect. This is still a very usable image, and it clearly keeps her intact. Now, let's push it even further and completely change the environment to see how well she holds up. I'll type, make her into a biker riding a big Harley Davidson motorcycle, and let's see what comes out. I honestly didn't think she would hold up this well. Now, it did give a lot more changes to her face compared to the other generations we've done before. So just keep that in mind when you're generating. If you're planning to go for something really different, it's smart to include that detail in your very first prompt. For example, if you know you're going to make her a biker, you might already add in something like she's wearing a helmet in the original prompt. I'll just add it in right now in a new image. That way, the AI won't struggle as much and start morphing her face later on. But overall, I'd still say this is a really strong result. The image quality looks very good for ChatGPT. The rendering of the bike itself came out really crisp, the texturing is solid, and even though her face did change more here than in the previous versions, it's still usable. So I call this one a success. Even if the consistency isn't perfect, the end result is still very impressive for a free tool. And now you know how to create consistent characters with ChatGPT completely for free. You've got the template, you understand the workflow, and you've seen exactly what kind of results you can expect. But here's the thing, while this method works, it's not perfect. The biggest problem is that ChatGPT's memory only lasts for so long. After about 15 to 20 generations in the same chat, it starts forgetting details about your character. The face begins to drift, features change, and suddenly you're back to square one. The generation speed is honestly pretty slow compared to dedicated AI art tools. Each image takes anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes, which adds up fast when you're working on bigger projects. Plus, you're limited to ChatGPT's image generation capabilities, which means you can't access some of the more advanced features you'd find in dedicated AI art tools. The reality is, if you're just testing out character creation or doing this as a beginner, the ChatGPT method is perfect, it's free, it works, and it gets the job done, but there are a lot of things you just can't do with it. For example, you can't generate multiple characters in the same scene. You can't create consistent characters across different art styles, and you definitely can't match the speed and quality of professional tools. But the biggest problem here is that the workflow comes with a lot of limitations. As you've seen, the quality isn't always perfect, the consistency disappears over time, and the generation time is on the longer end as well. There are a lot of things you just can't do with the free ChatGPT version. If you want sharper detail, more consistent characters across big projects, or just faster, higher quality outputs, ChatGPT alone will never get you there. That's exactly why, in this video, I walked you through the new method I'm currently using. So, if you really want to get pro-level results and you want to see exactly how it's done, click that video now and I'll see you there.